That's when everything started, was on our family camping trip. He started getting sick, and never went away.
I met Rhett Jones in the bone marrow transplant clinic about a week before his admission to our bone marrow transplant unit on LCH 11.
On November 2nd, 2021, they did blood work. It probably wasn't 30 minutes, and they called back. She said, "We think it's leukemia." And I said, "We're not going to HOME." And she said, off to the hospital we went, and we didn't come home for probably 6 weeks.
Typical bone marrow transplant admissions can be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months. And unfortunately with Rhett's bone marrow transplant, he had some complications, ended up in our pediatric intensive care unit.
His brother was his bone marrow donor. His brother and sister got tested, and Lane ended up being 100%, and Taylor was 50, and they said either one would have worked.
In May of 2022, when he was put in the PQ, he spent those 5.5 weeks, and the doctor looked at me and Renee and said that he'll never make it.
Coming from the ICU, watching Rhett, I was not sure he was going to pull through either.
ECMO is a very challenging therapy for some of the sickest of children. You have these donor cells that we've given you, and then you have your own body cells, and it's when they start to fight one another. We don't want that. When that happens, you could have GVHD, or graft versus host disease.
Every kid has their own story, and some are harder to watch than others. For Rhett, he kind of had a little bit of GVHD everywhere, so that's why he got that ECP therapy, or twice a week, every week for almost a year.
And I'll never forget that. That last week we were there, when his lungs began to open back up. The other doctors looked at us and said, "Well, we don't know why this is happening." And for Renee and I, we knew exactly why. But thank God he's brought him here today, and for the joy of how we celebrate and how we're reminded, not of all the pain and the heartache, but the journey that God's took us on to bring us to this day.
Rhett, today you get to ring your bell. Are you excited? Do you know what it means to ring your bell? Tails and free.
He's been a fighter for us.
So to be able to see him ring the bell, it is just so special and beautiful. And they weren't sure what was going to happen to now Rhett being here and being healthy and thriving post-transplant.
And that's one thing we've learned out of this. You gotta live in the moment. You can't, take nothing for granted.
The 2-year journey we've been on, we never thought we'd be here.
Kids are just resilient, and it's incredible to watch them.